I guess you can call me the project manager. This project has been like a pet project of mine for like 2 years now. I do mostly Unity development, but I do software dev as my like daytime job. Machi?
I'm Maciej. I'm helping Sabin in game development, like from the developer side. So we're both programmers, and I'm doing some game development in the free time myself. Um,
Cool. I'm Daniel. I'm a professional product designer, typically working on SaaS and other like um, things like websites and e-commerce. So this is like the first game I get to work on. So I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, I'll be doing like UI design.
Um, Nice to meet you all. My name is Marla. Um, I'm going to my fourth year for illustration, and I'm really interested in like concept art and visual development for games and animation. So that's kind of where my background lies.
Priscilla?
Hello. Hi, I'm or Priscilla. I'm a UX slash product designer professionally. Currently job hunting, which kind of sucks, but um, which is why I have all this time to help with projects, and that's why I'm here.
Um, okay. Uh, I'm Shaveen, and I'm an illustration student going to my fourth year. Uh, I'm I'm down to draw anything really. Yeah, I'm not that picky. Okay.
Shervine and Marla, do you guys go to school with Austin?
No,
No,
Okay.
Austin lives in a different country than us.
we just met him through a friend at our school.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And Molly?
So I'm Molly. I don't have any credentials and I don't know what I'm going to school for. But in this project, I've been helping with the 3D modeling.
While we're at it, where's everybody from? Molly and I are from Nebraska in the U.S. Macha, you're from Poland, correct?
yeah.
Daniel, where are you at?
California for me.
That's what it is.
I think I'm the only person in the West Coast, huh?
I think you are,
Or
yeah.
at least in the core teams and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live in Canada.
And I assume Shervine does too, because she goes to school with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like across the lake from each other.
Yeah, she's like 2 minutes away from me.
Nice.
And Pri is from New York, right?
Sir.
Alrighty. So my goal is to kind of get us to work as a team here. I like to have all of us just be able to bounce ideas off of each other and have fun. I think that's what makes these projects worthwhile. It's like siloing yourself off. Only like you can still make progress, but you can learn and become better at the job that you want to get a lot quicker with the team. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so we can all be on the same page. And let me know when you all are watching.
All right.
Can everybody see okay?
Hmm.
All right, perfect. Um, so for those that are unfamiliar, the tool that we're using to keep track of all of our development work is called GitHub, and its classification as a tool is called a version control system. And basically, what that means is that it allows us as developers to keep track of a history of all the code that we've done. The nice part about it is that built into it is a wiki. So I've started kind of a wiki for us to kind of explain like how to get onto the project and keep track of like the weekly meetings and all that jazz. It's currently in progress. Um, the original repository was like under my user, but since this is quickly becoming a community project, I've moved it to basically OneLeaf owning the project as an organization. So I have to move over all of the content that was on my repository over. So I had some notes for us to look over to kind of get to planning. So I'm going to go into weekly meetings and we will just edit this page. And let me go copy the notes real. Actually, do I have them in my clipboard? I do. So as you can see, I'm using a templating language. It's called Markdown in GitHub. When I do the 2 hashtags, it'll turn into like a title. I'll show you in just a second. So I would prefer if everybody could keep all of their notes in GitHub because you can see like the dashes turned into like bulleted points and the 2 hashtags turned into like a header. So you can go look up like GitHub Markdown and it'll show you how it all works. But it's super nice and quick for getting like formatted text out there. So did you, Shervine and Marla, did you guys watch the videos from last week?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and do a quick rundown with you. I can go ahead and open up the game and show you guys what we have so far. Let me make sure that I'm on the right version. Okay, so while this is loading up, it's going to take a second. I'm going to go ahead and go over the roadmap because this is something that we're going to have to talk about as a team here. I don't have a ton of experience with project management. I'm learning it as I go, so feedback is appreciated. So um, the game itself is kind of like a 3D platform. It was inspired by a first-person shooter called CS:GO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The movement mechanics from that game allow you to have some interesting movement that most other games don't. The 2 movement mechanics that they allow are bunny hopping, and basically the way it works is as you're jumping, if you it was a bug introduced way back in like the days of like Quake and Doom and whatnot. And if you basically the way it works is like as you're moving, it applies like friction to the ground, so you have like a max speed when you like hit the like equilibrium point of friction. But if you jump, it doesn't apply friction. So you can do this. They call it bunny hopping because you hop like a bunny, like you're consistently hopping. So you can keep gaining speed without the friction pulling you back. So you can use that to like hop from platform to platform, and so it makes it kind of like a platformer or a strategy game. The next mechanic, so you can see like the basic layout of the maps are like hopping from platform to platform, right? The next mechanic that CS:GO allows is called surfing. And basically what it is it takes the mechanic of you being able to gain speed in the air, and if a sloped surface is more than 45 degrees, it allows you to keep gaining speed. So basically, like, pretend that the force that you're getting while going down is pushing you into the wall and propelling you forward. So if I go ahead and hit play, it's kind of like you can imagine like wall running or wall sliding or something like that. Um, and it basically allows you to do cool things where you can slide along walls and go flying and whatnot. And you have like complete and total control over your movement in the air. I'm bad, but and then the last mechanic that we've worked on is portals, or that I guess that I worked on. And if you guys have ever seen the game Portal, they'll make a whole lot of sense. You know, you can see through the portal and you can walk through it to the other side. So those are the 3 core mechanics of the game. I'm definitely open to more. On the GitHub repository, um, it's currently on mine, but I'll be moving it over. We have project boards. So you can see under the alpha ideas, I have some extra ideas that could make the game more fun, like a grappling hook or objects that people could like put through portals and whatnot. I've went ahead and made a project board for the 3D modelers and the UI designers, so you can see that they're kind of like tickets, like little small pieces of work, like making an options menu or the level completion menu for the UI designers, or for 3D modelers, they can do like a layout of a city or creating models of a portal and whatnot. So we'll want to do something similar for the concept artist, so that they have a manageable chunk of work that they can track, right? So the bunny hopping, surfing, and portals are all fully functional. They've been tested. They all work to an extent that I'm, I suppose, happy with. Um, so on so recently, we came up with a theme and a story for the game. So the story is right here. Basically, the reason you're hopping from platform to platform is to find your dog. You're in like a futuristic world where your dog is a cyborg, and every time he barks, he teleports away from you because he has some sort of malfunction in his code. So every level, your goal is to hop and go find your doggo that you lost. Originally, we had it broken down so that each level was kind of its own like segmented off like portion. But as we were talking last week, we thought it would be cool to kind of um, change this up and basically have it so that like the end of this, like each of these black circles is a checkpoint. Obviously, everything looks really ugly right now because I'm a developer, not a designer. But um, basically, like this would be one level, but like it would seamlessly like transition into like the next levels, right? And so it would be like one big open world where, like, I don't know, you're hopping across like the tops of buildings, or like surfing across like awnings on people's stores, and then like maybe hopping up to like on this level, for example, um, you'd be like when you start out over here, and maybe you'd be like hopping up the side of like a skyscraper to go find your dog who's like all the way up on top of it, for example. So it's kind of conceptually taking like the map layouts that work with the core mechanics that I've come up with, and basically turning them into somewhat more of a realistic scenario. So with that being said, we just finished up with version 0.5. That gave us, it fixed how portals are being placed. I did a little bit of a redo to the UI, and that was just me redoing it. That's without Daniel and Pri helping us, so it'll look a lot better here soon. We added a developer console, and that just basically allows you to put in commands. It's for the developers to use, so that way you could like skip a level or whatnot to do some testing. Then we added some basic tests. So what's next is planning out the rest of the milestones. The ones that I had planned previously, 0.6 would be for a level editor, 0.7 would be for making like a really in-depth tutorial, and then 0.8 would be for integrating with Steam so we can publish the game on Steam. Okay, I feel like I went over a lot. What questions do you guys have?
Currently none.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, so as far as like the design inspiration and whatnot, I have on the other project in that wiki, I'm going to consolidate all this after the meeting. But under the inspiration page, I have I was looking at games that inspired like the mechanics and whatnot, and then I was looking at actual like design inspiration. So I found these two, and this guy is kind of what I'm imagining like the actual game would look like. It would have kind of like that soft lighting with like these light blues and light yellows for maybe the portals, or maybe wrapped around like the trim of a building or whatnot. And then for the UI, it would kind of match with like bright colors on like a gray or dark blue background. So you guys, so the concept artist wouldn't really have to worry about the UI at all. It would more be like conceptualizing um, maybe how some of the maps work, if that's something that you'd be interested in, or making like a. I know Daniel made us a logo,
Mhm.
but that could be iterated on and whatnot.
Yep.
Um,
Just like an initial idea.
yeah, I actually really like the work that Daniel's done so far. I think it fits perfectly into what we're going for. If I scroll back up in the channel, you can see he made us like an options menu, a
There's
paused menu. Okay, my one bit of feedback is Jax is a husky, so he has to have ears that look like a husky. That's my only bit of feedback. I'll send you
right.
pictures of him. It'll make it easier.
Cool. Yeah, you can
Um,
modify that.
I also like the monochrome logo. I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I updated the Figma actually, so I have
Oh,
kind
perfect.
of the rest of the option screens hashed out, except for game, which I think, as I mentioned earlier, it might make sense to just put mouse sensitivity under controls. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going to be in like the game menu.
So Figma is a tool used for like storyboarding out like UI. So you can see the orange UI is what I currently have that I made and is like completely ugly, and then the gray is what Daniel's in the process of making. So yeah, these are the versions that I currently have laid out. But as I was thinking about it, I'm not sure that they quite work. What I originally had was the tutorial would be next and the level editor would be version 0.7. But I'm thinking since we're going to start doing design and whatnot, we're going to want to push that back, and we can do because like the tutorial is going to have like its own UI and objectives and whatnot. So that might need to wait until we figure out if we're going to be doing open world or on a per level basis. Um, Back to the meeting notes, I suppose. That's probably the best place to start. Okay, so Austin was looking into in Unity. There's a thing called the Universal Render Pipeline, and basically it makes your game look a lot prettier, and it'll handle like all that lighting for us. Um, Also, we might want to start looking into the Steam integration because you basically have to, Steam has like a library of code that you pull in, and you have to make all your stuff work with it. So I'm thinking we might want to start integrating that first before we start doing all of the code for the UI, so we don't have to redo anything. And at the same time, that would make it so that so are you guys all familiar with Steam? I know
Yeah.
Molly is. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So, for those of you who don't know, Steam has like a workshop, right? So like I could go to um, Steam and I could go to Counter-Strike, for example, and you could go to the workshop and you can download or just you hit like um, if you go to maps, where are maps? Haha, browse maps. God damn it. Basically you can like subscribe to maps and they will automatically like download for you, right? So the level editor that we're making, I want people to be able to upload their maps and have people download them, right? So that way they can make their own. The So I see two sides of this coin. If they have a level editor, it doesn't fit into like the narrative of the game quite, because if we're doing an open world, they can kind of just run around and do whatever. So if they try and do a level editor, do they edit the big world that we have, or do they just make like small little instances of it that are just simple jumping puzzles?
I would
Mm,
imagine like independent worlds would work better, be easier.
Cool, that's kind of what I was thinking. Any other feedback on that?
If it's open world, like a way that they could modify that would be like each part would be a section, but they would all be connected. Like let's say like via teleportation, like you step on something and it takes you to another part of the open world, because you would still have like loading screens in an open world. So they could modify each individual, like there would have to be like sections for those. Maybe.
I kind of like that idea of having a teleporter to take you to the next world rather than having to like walk all the way there or something.
I think also if we did like districts, could that possibly
Yeah.
cut down on loading time? So instead of loading an entire open world, it would just be sections of it at a time.
Well, the cool part is since like the code that I have is so optimized, I don't see us really running into any load time issues unless we have like just an insane amount of models. And even then, I can make it so that like anything outside of like your view range, you just aren't rendering. So I wouldn't take performance considerations into account because I'll be able to handle that. I guess unless you're playing on a potato, that might be a consideration. But yeah, districts would be kind of cool. Like you could design your own district and add it. And I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to have a giant community-made map.
Mhm.
I don't know. We can always so we could like basically like the way Unity works, right? Is like you have prefabs, right? So I have some like level building prefabs. So like I have a platform, I have a wall, and like all you do is you have the three axes that you can click and drag it on, right? And then you can click E to switch to rotate mode, and you can rotate it, right? Or you can click to R and switch to scale mode, and it'll just scale it, right, on whichever axis you want. So I think with those simple controls built in, and we just basically just give them like a list of the assets that or the models that like Molly and Austin make. I think they can just design the levels however they want, right? Um, like the only consideration is that for each of the checkpoints, left like number them and order them. But we can set up like a tool for that. But basically, like recreating the editor that Unity has here, like ignore all the extra buttons and crap, and really just have them pick these things up, move them, and then like I don't know, copy and paste it and move it and so on, right? So if you make the level editor as simple as that, they can kind of do whatever they want, I guess. Austin also does have this 3D artboard that he made where he was just kind of poking through some possibilities. So I really like the foggy neon glow that he found. Like imagine if you had like like he was talking about like immense verticality, right? Like the buildings are super tall, like you look up and they just go on for miles. I think it'd be kind of cool that if like at the top of the buildings they have this like blue glowy feel. Um, what else was he talking about? The pinks and the purples for like the cyber punk feel. Massive monolithic structures. It would be really cool to have like these structures laid out so that they have like jutting surfaces that you can like jump on like in like a spiral all the way up to the top of the building. We could just have like some passive flying cars that you could jump on. And then for art style, I think he kind of nailed it on what it could look like. I don't know. What are you guys?
Also,
Sorry, go ahead.
for the dog, since the art style is like very like shapy geometric, do you want the dog to be more based on shapes or like a little bit more round and
I found trying to find the actual version of this. Not it wasn't cyberpunk. It was cyborg. Mm, I found an example that was like perfect. I should have grabbed the link to it. So my thought process on it is that if we could go super high fidelity like this, I'd love to. I simply chose the like the simply textured and like kind of matte surfaces because I figured it would be easier. But if we could find more modelers and that would be feasible, then I'm completely for it. I was just thinking based on the time constraints, it would be easier to go for the I don't think it's example, but the triangulated look, right? But I don't know. I really like this little example that he has here. Um, I think that'd be something that would be feasible, but also look pretty nice.
Nice. Is that all concept art or are those actual games?
Uh,
Aside from these guys at the bottom.
yeah, I think I know this guy is just concept art from somebody on. I think that's the same guy that I showed on Dribble earlier.
Mhm.
I have no idea about this one. Is there a link that he added to this? No. And I'm pretty sure this one is from the same guy too.
Yeah, look like it.
So yeah, I think they're just concept art. Whereas I think yeah, these all look like concept art. That's like too blurry for a video game.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they're all concept. There aren't really. I haven't really seen any games that are kind of like going for this style, so I think it'll be somewhat unique if we go for this.
I guess I was trying to look for something similar too, and then like the two that come to mind was maybe NeoCab, right? It's like that Uber driver looking cyberpunk game.
Oh yeah, The purples and the
that's
blues.
yeah, definitely color wise.
Yeah.
Can't say too much about like cityscape.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. There's another game called like Dreamfalls. I think it's a Dreamfall. And then there's like parts of the game you're in like this futuristic city.
Yeah, Molly found the image. Hold on, let me. Molly, you want to send that image in the channel? Come on, Discord. This was the corgi that I was talking about.
Aww.
Ooh.
That's like, I mean, we could change the coloring from like green to like purple or blue or something, but I thought it was pretty perfect. The game that I initially had like the cyberpunk idea that gave me it was BioShock, and it's steampunk, not cyberpunk, right? So it's what I kind of like about it is that everything's like steam powered and like makes sense, but there's like a little bit of magic to how these things work, you know? Like it doesn't. It feels a little bit mystical, like you can see like there's like spells and whatnot, but it's also like it still feels old, I guess. I have some other images from when I was looking in the past of like other steampunk styles. And, you know, I kind of like the like gears and pipes and all that jazz, but I think cyberpunk is a little bit more fun because it's a little bit newer, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the like this building style was something that I've always really liked. It feels like, you know, like the days of like medieval wizards and stuff like that.
What if there was a way to kind of combine the steampunk and the cyberpunk? Well, not steampunk, but like the cyberpunk, and have some of the architecture inspired by like medieval.
That would be absolutely amazing. I've never seen something like that. I think it would be awesome.
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool.
That would be beyond unique. I don't think I've ever come across something that even tried to do that.
I have some like images in mind, so like I can start like looking for like stuff similar to it and making some sketches.
Yeah,
And
and I
get
think
out those Pinterest boards.
Yes.
so. I think yeah, I know Pinterest is gonna be perfect for this, and I think so. What might be useful for you guys is to kind of I can send you like screenshots of how these levels are set up, so you can kind of get an idea of like the mechanics that I was trying to do. So like, okay, for example, on Portal 1, it's just as simple as there's a gap in the middle that you can't cross, so you have to do a portal to get to the other side, right? On Portal 2, the idea is that you have to portals preserve your velocity, right? So you have to place a portal on the bottom and on top, and then jump through it, and it shoots you across the gap, right? And then if we move on Portal 3, it's a similar aspect where you have to place the portal above and below, and now you keep falling through it until you get enough speed that you can place a portal while you're in the air and come over here. So, like, trying to think about how you could even conceptualize maps that allow those types of mechanics. The last really complex mechanic with portals is that this level, the only way to beat it is to place a portal up here, a portal in front of you, and then you can actually shoot a portal through the other. Like you can see my portal, like I shot the portal that was here through this one, and it's now on the other side of this wall. So now I can jump through on the other side. Oh, my map broke. And now I'm on the other side of the wall, and that's how you beat the level. So like, I don't know how you'd even conceptualize this in like map design and things like that. But I don't know if you guys are more interested in just doing concept art that kind of like gives us the feel that we're looking for, or if you're actually interested in like conceptualizing the maps themselves and like having them drawn out so that the modelers and I know how to like actually place things down.
I'm good with doing both, since designing like anything in general would need to be implemented into the game. So it would make sense to also help with how the levels look.
Yeah.
I think I'm better with the first one.
And that's kind of what I was expecting from like a concept artist specialization. Daniel, I think this picture is pretty cool as well. Like if we took it and added like neon colors to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's they have some interesting like sort of city structures. that kind of like meshes like the steampunk with the futuristic look.
The other
Yes.
the other game that I would use for inspiration that kind of reminds me of steampunk, it would be Borderlands.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily steampunk, but like some of the architecture, like their thing is like the shaders have like this like black outline that gives them like a cartoony feel.
Right.
Um, but some of their architecture is like really forward, and the rest of it's like Mad Max kind of. So I think that's an interesting combination as well. Okay, sorry, I keep getting wildly off topic. So, Marla, was it you that said you would be interested in doing some actual map design, or was that Shervine?
Yeah.
Okay. You and me will have to sit down and we can kind of look at how some like so the goal is to have you guys ever played the game Portal like from Steam?
Uh,
I've been told by a lot of friends to play it, but I never got around to it.
So
I have it, but never played it.
I think the what's going to make our game be better than others is if we can kind of combine the experience of a developer and a concept artist and a level designer, because the way they do it is at very first they do kind of what I do. They just show you that you can place one portal down and place the other to be able to walk through it, and then after that they show you how you can use the momentum of a portal to like hop across a a a thing that you couldn't normally jump across. And then they get more and more complicated with it, and then like after that then we could have it so that like on Portal 4 I think it is. Nope, Portal 5. I have too many levels and I don't remember. So like you have to like bunny hop across these guys, place a portal here, and place a portal here, and then keep bunny hopping across. So like having them completely understand the mechanics of portals, having them completely understand the mechanics of bunny hopping, and then like kind of merging them and making that into the level design. So like it's almost like a skill set that like no one person has. So it'd be kind of fun to work as a team to kind of figure out how these things can be merged together in the level design.
I think something that like could help players kind of figure out what direction they need to go in. Like the example you showed us was the one where we had to go like over the wall.
Yeah,
So I assume most players wouldn't know that it would be possible to go over the wall.
yeah, exactly.
So maybe something, since there's a lot of lights in this world, maybe from a certain direction there could be a really strong light. So there could be like, oh, there's something over there. There's like light coming from there.
In the alpha project board, or I think I moved all of them to here. Nope, the other one. I had some ideas for this. I had some feedback from some people that tested the game. Highlighting the checkpoints like through the walls was an idea that they had. But I think if we use the like lighting scheme of like the cyberpunk lighting, like the ceilings could have lights that are like directional, like arrows almost pointing to where you need to go. I think that'd be cool too.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, like if you load into the game and you look at like the bottom of the screen, you can see like there's like a tutorial text at the bottom. So like it kind of gives you an idea of what you have to do, and if you pair that with something visual, I think that will get the point across. And then like once they understand this mechanic, they only need to do it once or twice before they can put it into action without needing to be guided, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking of some like a narrator a little bit, but like a funny one.
I would love that so much. Like in Borderlands, they have um,
I was kind of thinking of like Stanley Parable.
I absolutely love
Yeah.
Stanley Parable. And I can't remember the little guy's name. Who's the little guy that talks to you?
Claptrap?
Claptrap, thank you.
Claptrap.
Yeah.
They have this little robot that like follows you around throughout the game. So I almost wonder if you had like I wonder if we could make our dog talk to you.
Maybe. That'd be really fun.
Like like every game like so like if we're talking like so if we like take ourselves out of like having fun making a game context and put ourselves almost into a marketing context, like having something cute and a companion that you like bond with over the game like makes the game way more fun, right?
Yeah.
So if the dog were to, I don't know what voice we would give a dog, but I think it would be fun to have like a girly looking like really petite dog, and I have a friend who has like a super deep voice, and mashing those two together would be
Oh
super
my
funny.
god.
Oh, that'd be great.
I know I'd like to have a lot of fun with this game, and like sky's the limit. Um, so I'm down for all this feedback.
Um, from our D&D campaigns, Austin has a really great old man voice if we ever need it. Like
I,
those like fantasy old wizards kind of voice.
I'm 100% keeping that in mind. He's gonna definitely have to do some voice acting for us.
I don't know if he'd be down, but he has the range.
Game, like we're going through these levels to find your dog or something, or is that just
The initial concept was that at the beginning of every level, your dog does something like he has some malfunction and like he like glitches and teleports away, and you have to like go find him, right? Like that's the whole point of the game is to like find your lost dog, and he keeps leaving you, and you keep having to like run all over the city to find him. And that's not like none of this is set in stone. So I'm 100% open for feedback. So if like the dog would follow you and like I don't know, the dog is trying to lead you somewhere to like I don't know, maybe it's a girl dog and she has some puppies somewhere that she lost. I don't know. That way the dog could stick with you and narrate rather than you having to go find her.
Mhm. And maybe for like some of the harder levels, the dog can like go in front of you.
Like show you like the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'd be super cool because like dogs naturally like when they're trying to pull you somewhere, they'll like go in front of you and they'll like walk in circles almost like that's how they like tell you to follow them.
Mhm.
Like adding in some like animations that kind of feel realistic and like the dog is pulling you somewhere would be cool too. I don't know. We could even add in like we could add in like other mechanics too. Like we could give you like anti-gravity boots so you could walk on walls. That like the dog would always have them, so he'd just like walk over the wall and you'd have to use a teleporter to go find him.
Mhm. I really like the walking on walls idea because the I thought about it earlier because you showed like what if we do like really vertical tall buildings.
Yeah,
Um, it'd be really cool if for one you just like were walking up it, and it'd be like a really cool angle to do one.
it might help if I kind of show you the gameplay like feel that I'm going for. If I were to actually like start from the menu and play the game, I think that might inspire some thought here. Because like okay, so you start out and it just shows you how to get a checkpoint, and then you have to learn how to jump and crouch. And then this level teaches you how to bunny hop, so like you can, as you turn, you like gain speed. You can see in the top left, like my speed's going up. And then it gets to be like you're like hopping across platforms, right?
Mhm.
So like you can see how like once you get like I know I have a lot of hours in CS:GO practicing this, so like you can see how like fluid it feels, right? Like you just kind of like get in the flow. Um, and that's like kind of like the feel that I was going for is like you just like get into this flow of like hopping and it like feels natural. So like if we can like fit that into the level design, that'd be awesome. I think the coolest part about the mechanic is that like no in no other game would you be able to like jump around a wall, right? You just have to like jump straight, right? Whereas with the like movement mechanics that CS:GO has, it lets you like curve yourself in the air if you like know how the mechanic works, right? So it lets you like design levels in no way that any other game could. Like if you go type in like CS:GO bunny hop map, this might give you some ideas for like how the levels would be laid out. Um, what would be a good example? Like this almost has that cyberpunk feel, I guess. Or a lava map. I don't know. I guess I keep taking us off topic. Sorry, I get excited about this. Okay, so so I don't keep taking up your guys' time. As far as wrapping up this meeting goes, UI design team, I feel like you guys kind of know what you need to do. Daniel and Pri, do you feel the same
Yeah,
way?
I think so.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Machi and I kind of need to sit down and plan out like what we're gonna do next for development. I don't think that really, because we're either gonna be doing the level editor, tutorials, or Steam integration. I don't think that really impacts anybody else's work. So we can kind of decide that on our own. But for the concept artists, um, do you guys feel like you have an idea of where you could head towards, or should we lay out some tickets of work for you guys to be able to work on?
I have some ideas, but I think it'd be good to like uh kind of split up some of the work so that one of us like doesn't do something that the other one is already doing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and create a project board for you, and I'll just call it concept art, and we'll use a Kanban. So basically the way it works is that like, of course it has extra crap. It's super simple, right? I'll put something in to do like now breaking this down into small pieces of work with concept art is not something I've done before. What would be some ideas for you guys that you would that like? I'm sorry, I am by no means an artist. This is really hard for me to wrap my head around.
I think the first thing would be to kind of like establish the aesthetic and style in like a drawn format.
Create almost like a design system.
Yeah, kind of like how we would go about drawing it so that our works don't look completely different.
Maybe finalize color palettes, and you'll have to work with
Mhm.
the UI designers to do that. And so
Yeah.
all you guys have to do with these tickets when you come into them is you can drag them to in progress, and then if you come on, is it not going to let me convert? Edit note. This is so weird. On every other, like on my project, you can turn them into. Yeah, you can convert them into an issue, which allows you to, when you like pull it into to do, you can click on it and you can like assign yourself to the ticket, so that way you know who's working on it. Like you can see the little icon on it to show you who's working on it.
Mhm.
I'll have to figure out why it's not working on your guys' board, but that way you guys like know who's working on what. Interesting. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so color palettes, design system, maybe mock up like what the architecture could look like.
Mhm. And also like for the corgi mock-up design.
Yeah, I think this is a lot better for like saving the 3D modelers time, because they could work on something and they could come back and everybody be like, that doesn't really like fit what we're feeling, but they spent like a week on it. Whereas concept art kind of like is more like there's more like a flow, like a constant review. Like you guys can just constantly send us pictures back and forth.
Yeah, because like we were talking to Austin about it, and it'd be a lot of work to first design everything and then 3D model it. For like one or two people to do. So it's better to have like a group that design it and then the 2D models.
Exactly. Okay, so we have corgi, architecture, um, a design system, and the color palettes. I think the design system kind of encompasses the architecture, color palettes, and corgi, though.
Okay, yeah, then just maybe, yeah, I don't think we need design system.
Um, on the other project, was it under 3D models? Yeah. So we had, um, so you guys are kind of gonna be doing what they were doing, but like the precursor to what they were doing. So Austin was making some buildings. Molly was making some platforms, like what platforms could look like floating rocks or something like that. It might help to just have like a bunch of different ideas, like
Mhm.
like something that has thrusters on the bottom holding it up, or maybe just like a flying car that's in park, or things along those lines.
Okay.
So floating platform mockups. Um,
Would you also like a design for the portals, or would you just like it to be like a oval?
I'm open to either. Like I've went and looked at like if you could just go like look up portals, like there's a lot of options that you can do, right? Like you could make it look, something like this, where it almost looks like you're like traveling through dimensions, or you could just do it like the normal portal where it's just green, orange and blue, and you just kind of like walk through it, which I don't think feels like as in immersive as it could be.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd be open to that. Um,
Do you still want like the fantasy steampunk elements? Because like you mentioned how you like the aspect of there's a little bit of magic, so maybe the the portals have like some technological looking runes on them, which is what lets you teleport.
I think that's kind of the fun part about the style that we're going for is it kind of gives you some artistic and creative freedom as to how things could work.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of open to like whatever. My goal is to kind of like okay, I have like three goals for like the way this game works. One is like you get into a flow and you just kind of enjoy the way the bunny hopping works and it just feels like you're in the zone. The second it has like that cute element with the corgi, and the third is like that it inspires some awe in you, right? Like you like jump to the top of a building and you have this like giant vista where you're looking over the entire city and you're like, whoa, this is super cool. So like if the way the portals work does that, or if the way the platforms are floating does that, like the more ways that we can inspire that like feeling of adventure would be awesome.
Mhm.
And maybe I need to cater the story a little bit to handle that rather than you trying to find your lost corgi. You and your corgi are on an adventure, so it kind of the narrative fits the feeling I want like that you want to have. But at the same time, I don't want it to be something that just like I am interested in. So if you guys have things that would have you more passionate about this project, I'm happy to to like figure out another solution. And I think
Have you
another.
guys?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you guys seen that game called like Sayonara Wild Hearts or whatever? It's mostly like a music uh, game, but it like flows in a nice way that might be conducive to like the skiing mechanic or something, where it just world building. I don't know if you watch like a video of it.
I can't turn on the volume. YouTube. I like the color scheme and the fonts so far. Like it all feels um, like it fits well.
Hmm. Yeah, a little weird, a little, but kind of fun in some way. And like, yeah, if you like the small snippets of like the levels there,
Yeah, those they seem cool. It almost
yeah,
seems like Temple Run or something, or Subway
yeah, kind of.
Surfers. The more games that like we find that happen to have something that we can take from is nice. To at least help us like conceptualize what even is possible. Um, I guess something else that we can add to I'm trying not to make too much work for concept art, but I also don't know if like you guys want a lot to do. Um, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
I'm I'm perfectly fine doing a lot. As long
Same.
as it's not like overwhelming. Because generally games do take a lot of concept art. From I never worked on one, but like from what I've seen.
And like 2 months ago, if you would have asked me and you would have been like, "Oh, are you gonna like do anything with like the blues and the greens and whatnot?" I would have been like, "I'm a developer. This is like enough for me." And then Daniel and Priscilla said they'd help with UI, and I started looking at their mock-ups and like looking at other like concept art and whatnot. I was like, oh my goodness, we can take this to like a whole nother level rather than just something that works. So I agree that concept art is going to be like a big driving factor of how this works. With that being said, I can come up with some other ideas like mock-ups of the player. Right now, the only way that you could like you're in first person, right? So you can't see the player, right? But if you were to shoot like a portal over here and a portal over here and look through them, you can kind of see I have like a player, right? It's just a T pose right now. But we'd probably want some sort of like animations on the player and whatnot, so that if they're looking through themselves, they don't just look like they're just standing still, right?
Mhm. And also probably for like Steam, how it has like that cover art, you probably want the
The character,
scientist dude on it
yeah.
and the Courtney.
And I was kind of thinking like a Rick and Morty vibe, like Rick, like a mad scientist feel for like, because he's like the way it fits into the narrative is like the dude lost his dog, so he's making contraptions to make it easier to find his dog, like the portals and the boots that allow him to bunny hop and whatnot, right? So yeah, I think that covers the majority of what we could do. Other components that are built in, like this green ground that I have, like resets you to a checkpoint. I have no idea how I'm gonna fit that into the narrative or what the ground could look like. I don't know if you just like fall into an abyss and it would reset you. Because I feel like we're almost going for like a little bit of realism.
That would kind of make sense with the whole foggy
Yeah.
cityscape look.
Yeah, like if they fall into
Just a foggy abyss.
yeah, something like this basically. Like like if they look down, it looks like this.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of cool to like not have the city, feel like everything has ground. Like the whole city feels like it's floating.
Like the
Mhm.
Jetsons.
What's that?
Like the Jetsons.
Yeah, exactly. Or like that initial concept art that I showed you guys. This guy,
Hmm.
So you almost have to like hop from rock to rock to like go to like maybe different districts in the city, for example.
Maybe there's like a city above you, a city below you, and like, well, not a city, but like the city continues above and below.
I feel like there's so many ways we can go with this that this is going to be a lot of fun for us to like even conceptualize how it could work. I don't know. So from what we have so far, I've talked to everybody, but Marla and Trevine so far about it. Everybody else seems pretty excited. Is this something that you guys are interested in? I don't want to like say, hey, let's get things done, and you guys aren't passionate about it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. The only thing is in September, we start our thesis,
Oh
so we
boy.
won't have a lot of time.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think with like the time that we have now, we could like get a lot of it done. Since it's not like production stuff, it's just like the initial stuff that it takes like before. Like, yeah.
It's more concept art than like finalized like illustrations and whatnot, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Daniel also has a lot of experience making illustrations. Like he made all the illustrations for the. So we're working on a website for One Leaf, right? So he made like illustrations and whatnot for them. So he'd be a good person to get feedback from. Um,
The logos look really nice and
I
like those little.
I know
Yeah,
they're
it
so
looks so
cute.
good.
So we have the UXD channel, which is for user experience design. Um, I think that might be the best channel for you to get feedback in. I mean, there's also the feedback channel, um, but we don't have to limit like the feedback to like this project. You could get feedback from the rest of One Leaf because we have a lot of people. So I guess what I'm saying is what I'd like to see is like a constant stream of like, here's what I'm working on. What do you guys think? And then like just have this giant pit of brainstorming ideas that allow us to do lots of things. Okay, so UI designers are good to go. We have some tickets for the concept artists to get started. Um, as far as 3D modeling goes, Molly, I feel like you're almost gonna be working with the concept artist to like figure out what these things could even look like, rather than getting them all mocked up and then we do a whole concept art. It doesn't fit in. So you guys are almost gonna be in like a pair working together.
Okay.
Also, I kind of like how we have so many females on the crew. I've never seen I've never had so many women working on a game project before. I think it's kind of awesome.
Woo.
So, any other ideas? Any other things that you want to talk about? Do we feel like we're all on the same page? Like, do we feel like we all have things we can get done?
Yeah.
Good on my end.
Perfect. I have nothing else to do for the rest of the day. So if you guys want to stay in and chit chat, feel free. Otherwise, that's all I got for you guys today.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Sabian.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. I appreciate all you guys taking the time out of your day to help a project that you're not making any money off of. Also,
Nice.
for the people that are new, as soon as you start doing some work for OneLeaf, all of this stuff is open source, right? So like anybody can use it, anybody can take it into their own project and do whatever with it. We also have on the wiki under we started a separate project called Open 3D Models, just like open source 3D models, where Austin put like his social links and whatnot, so we can make you another repository. And basically just like keeps track of like the cool part is that like you can upload like your PNG files or your Photoshop files, whatever, and it'll keep track of like different versions of them, so like you can save them off and come back to them later. And then we could also use this as some way to help you guys get some sort of a portfolio going or get people recognizing the work that you're doing on. So it's not just you helping me on the project. I'd like to be able to give back and help you guys get something on your resume and whatnot.
Yeah, like having an actual game on your resume is really good.
Exactly, yeah. And like the mechanics are done. Like I've been spending like the last year on them, so they're pretty solid. So now at this point it's mostly design work and integrating with Steam and publishing and all that jazz. So you guys got it in a good time. So yeah, what do you? Oh, go ahead.
I'll begin just like doing some designs to see like I'll make a bunch of different designs like across different like types of aesthetics. But also work on see how to integrate the steampunk and cyberpunk together.
Awesome. I look for what tools do you guys use, by the way, for concept art, like Illustrator or something?
Clip
Um,
Studio.
yeah, Illustrator is mainly for graphic design work, which does not make sense because it's called Illustrator, not graphic designer. But yeah, mainly Clip Studio and Procreate.
And what type of files do you output, like PNGs or?
Yeah, we can output PDFs, PNG, like any kind of file.
Okay, cool.
GIFs.
I was just wondering what, like, from the programming side, like how I would bring those into the game.
Okay.
Oh, you know what would be cool? A splash screen. I didn't even think about that. I guess that's probably a little bit more down the road once we have the style finalized. But like when I like, okay, so currently like I have a installer for the game, so you can like load up like the actual game itself, right? Like as though you like installed it to your computer. So like when you load up the game, it gives you the Made with Unity screen, and then takes you like the level editor.
Yeah.
Instead of the Made with Unity screen, we could have like our own um, splash screen, And then instead of like the level editor, I'm almost thinking we just have like continue or new game, and then if it's an open world, you spawn and you have this just massive world, and it kind of like guides you to the next like place in the world that you need to go.
Does that change a lot for like that whole? Well, I guess how would you track levels and
That is a
record.
really freaking good question. I guess okay, so I guess you guys saw that when we loaded up the game. Currently, it kind of tracks. So since it's kind of a bunny hopping game, like my goal was to kind of have it like Mario, where anybody can beat the game, but those that take it serious, if you've ever watched like speedrunning videos, right? Like that's a whole crowd that like people love speedrunning. So you can see I like track the times, like your best time on the levels, and like right now green means you completed the level and red means you haven't. Um, so that's a good question, Daniel. I
Yeah, I'm
don't.
sure we could figure something out. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't, if you don't want it to be like the main screen, or after the splash screen, that's fine. It could be some other sort of like,
I mean, you could just have like I have this menu right here. We could just add in like the leaderboards option, and that would kind of pull up this screen.
yeah, leaderboards and like jump to level or
Yeah,
level
exactly.
select sort of screen.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the current way it's set up is that you don't have to beat any specific level to go to another one, which I think I kind of like. So like if you're really stuck on a level, like you can't complete it, maybe it's nice to just be able to like turn on your teleporter and hop to a different part of the city and go beat those levels. But if we have some sort of narrative, maybe that shouldn't be allowed, which means we'd have to make the levels like really easy to complete, I guess.
I mean, it could work if we're using the idea that you use like a teleporter to go to the next level. Because like you can teleport to like any of them.
So my thought was kind of like, okay, so you start and like when you hit a checkpoint, it turns green, right? So my thought was like when you hit the last checkpoint, like instead of going to this like completion page, you'd have like an animation where like your dog like runs in a circle and is like super happy that you found him and you pet him, and then like you walk through a teleporter into the next level. Um, but if it's an open world, maybe once you get to that checkpoint, like here for example, like all it does is light up and you just keep going and your dog runs away again, right? So it's just open world. Like you'd hit the checkpoint and there wouldn't be a wall here. You just like keep going, right?
I think the petting the corgi is really cute.
What's that?
The petting the dog cutscene thing is really cute.
I thought it'd just be perfect to end every level like that, or like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like down the road we can figure out like different animations that the player can choose. Like they could choose like the breed of their dog, or they could choose the anime like either they pet them or the dog jumps up into your arms or whatnot at the end of the round or something like that. What else would be useful information? I feel like I've gone through like a lot of thoughts and haven't put them like down anywhere because I'm not sure how to like format all of these thoughts into a document. I think what might be useful is to show you. I think it's this level. So in this level, I had a couple people test like uh, do some testing on it for me to like figure out how to complete it and whatnot. And the feedback that I got is it's kind of like if you get in here and you just kind of like look around, like is it immediately obvious what you're supposed to do? And obviously the answer is no, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like do you want that like sense of like you have to be smart to figure out these levels? Or do we want to make it so that like an 8-year-old could beat the game and have fun with it? And I'm not and I haven't made a decision on why one would be better than the other. I personally would side on the side of I want to feel accomplished when I beat this game. Like I had to be smart to complete it, but I don't want that to limit the people that could play it.
As long as there's like a range of levels, and like difficulty, then I think it's okay to like make some a little bit more challenging and difficult, while others are you could easily figure it out.
And I think as long as we like allow them to skip levels that oh shit, as long as we allow them to skip levels that like they can't complete and they can come back to, I think you're right on that one. Like
I,
the way. Sorry, go ahead.
I like the idea of maybe having multiple solutions to the level. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, like this level has that. Like, okay, so the way you're supposed to beat it is you hop up to here, you jump onto this box, and then you place a portal here, and you get onto this platform. And then you jump over to this guy, you hop on the checkpoint, and then you hop up all of these guys. Oh, I'm gonna fall. I'm bad. This level actually took me quite a while to design. Because I was trying to think of a way to like make it so that like it's somewhat vague on the way that you could go to complete it. And like after watching some people try and beat it, I even found some ways that I didn't even think were possible to complete it. So what you do is you get up to here, right? And then you place a portal down here and over here. And you jump all the way down, and the final spot is right here, which is kind of like hidden, right? Well, the other way to complete it would be to you could skip a portion of it by jumping. Goddamn. If you jump up on top of this box and you place a portal right here and up there, when you fall down to this portal, you can actually jump up to the top up there and skip this whole checkpoint, which is kind of cool. I think, yeah, this guy is a little bit more complicated. Like you have to, as you're falling, you have to place a portal across. Like you can see, this is like a textured. It's trying to look like glass, but you know, I'm no designer. So like as you're falling, you have to place a portal on the other side and land on this platform, and then you have to shoot another portal up through the glass over here, and then fall down, and it shoots you out like onto these platforms, and you have to jump all the way to the end, right? Well, like a hacky way that you could do it to complete the level faster would be as you're falling on this side. Oh, it's gonna be going too fast. Yep. As you come back down, you place the portal, and you take all the momentum of you falling from that high, and it shoots you almost all the way over to the end. And then like I take that mechanic and I make it even more complicated on the last level. And like so the goal, like my thought process on this was almost like you should be jumping up like up a skyscraper, right? So it's almost like you have like, I don't know, little awnings or flags or something that you're jumping on.
So just real quick, have you ever heard of Guild Wars 2?
I absolutely love Guild Wars because it's an MMO with jumping puzzles.
Have you gotten into any of the, I forget what they're called.
You were cutting out. What'd you say?
I don't remember what I don't remember what they're called, but it's a certain. It would take me too long to open it, but I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. But they have stuff that's like this that would be really cool to draw from.
Yeah, they have some really smartly designed like jumping puzzles. So like once you get to the top of the building, like the way it works is like you see that there's like a reset ground on the bottom, and then you'd place a portal in the middle and a portal right here, and you jump down, and you'd shoot up to like the next level, and you'd wiggle yourself over to here, and you'd repeat this process to like keep climbing higher and higher, right? So you're like almost jumping all the way down and like flying back up, and I feel like this inspires like awe in me because it's like a super cool like when you go to the last one and you fall all the way down, you'd like get like a cool view while looking down of like the whole like world almost. Okay, I missed, but oh, I missed. No. But yeah, you get the point. Like I think it's that mechanic is like super cool for like getting up to like the tops of buildings and whatnot. And if we throw in like from the top of a building, like imagine like using this to like imagine this is like a monorail or something like on a train, like a futuristic train, like being able to like slide down from the top of this gigantic building. I think it'd be super fun. Damn, I'm bad. But like based on the picture that Daniel supplied, like imagine like this tall building like in the middle, being able to like jump up to the top of it and then like slide all the way down or slide across to another building and things like that. I think it would be super fun.
I think also having items that could help you complete the level, like the grappling hook and stuff like that, would also be fun.
Yeah, I had a couple other ideas. Let's go look at him. Objects that you have to like. So in Portal, you have like there's like buttons on the ground, right? And you can place like they're called companion cubes. And you're basically allowed to like pick them up and bring them through portals. And then you can like set them down on a button and it would like press the button, it would like unlock a door for you and whatnot, right? Having interactions like that would make it super fun. Like I feel like we could add so many mechanics to this that would make it just super fun. Instead of like having the portal like allow you to go from one side of a wall to like another, have like a I don't know, a portal gun that broke, and instead of like creating a portal, it like shoots a hole in whatever you're looking at, or something that shoots like sticky goo, so you can like hop from wall to wall to wall to wall, like it sticks you to the side of a wall, which would be like a little bit harder than having like I don't know, just like pure anti-gravity boots that let you walk up walls. You know what would be cool? Each district of the city has like it has these abilities for you, right? So like you can't use a grappling hook, a sticky portal, a regular portal, and your bunny hopping all at the same time. Like each district would only have like one or two things at a time, so it kind of mixes those and makes it like a new mechanic that we can design that proportion of the city for. Which kind of fits into like another game I use inspiration from is called Cluster Truck. If you guys have ever seen it,
Mhm.
basically it's another like hopping game, but like you're hopping on the top of semis, right? And like every 10 levels, the like whole feel of the levels changes. Like this one is like foresty. This one is like I don't know, super weird. Like I like how like I don't know, maybe each district of our city can have like a different feel to it. Like you saw one of those levels had like lasers on it. One of them looks like it's like in the Arctic. Like I feel like it'd be super cool to be able to do something like this. Also, probably really heavy on the artists, but if it's possible, it'd be super cool. But what that would let us do is that would allow us to take one district and say, okay, let's mix bunny hopping and surfing together, and let's design like 4 or 5 levels inside this district that allow you to utilize those mechanics together. And then you get that gun that allows you to shoot a hole through a wall, and you combine that with I don't know, one of the other mechanics, and that allows us to design just that district based on those two mechanics.
So for each district, um, let's say like maybe like the platforms would be different, and like the general area.
Yeah, like it
So
would just have like
maybe
a different
for
like maybe even the lighting would change.
hmm
Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
I forgot I forgot what I was gonna say.
That portal looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember. From like a design standpoint, um, so maybe for like each district, there would be like a set amount of designs that we do, and they could be reused throughout the levels. So maybe this one, maybe like one level is used as like I don't know, I can't think of an example. So that way each district, uh, each level that belongs to a district all like is cohesive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. I like
Yeah.
that.
Instead of designing each individual level differently to be part of the same district. I mean, you would design them individually, but I mean, like from like the designs for the things.
We could do Guild Wars 2 has some really cool skills. Oh man. They have like some like I don't know, air wells that like shoot you up in the air. Or like these guys like send you flying.
That's fun.
And like you have like wings that you can pull out that allow you to like glide. I don't think this one is a very good example. Mhm.
They've also, in the past couple years, implemented mounts, which, depending on which one you're using, each have different functions, like jumping higher or farther, or being able to like glide over water. And one of them kind of allows you to fly freely.
Oh man, underwater part of the city would be cool too.
Maybe there's like a cyber aquarium.
Oh what?
A cyber aquarium.
Dude, cyborg sharks would be cool as fuck. If this game had sharks and corgis, my fiance would lose her damn mind. I don't know. What I like about the Guild Wars 2 puzzles is they make you feel smart for doing them, but they aren't very hard.
Mm.
I think what kind of sets our game apart is like having a mastery of like the bunny hopping and surfing mechanics. Like makes you like feel like you're doing all sorts of cool stuff. There you go. Here's an example of the glider. This kind of has a little bit of a steampunky feel to it.
Mhm. A lot of the different, I guess it's kind of like districts, but the home areas each have different aesthetics, especially the, I don't know, there's a species that's like furries, that one. Mhm. Yeah, they have a lot of, I don't know, things that would be interesting to look at for this, I think.
And they have like these what are they the lines that you can like glide across that like make you follow them?
Um,
Ley lines?
yeah, those. And in a couple of those shots, they've shown like air vents.
Yep.
Like immunity, I feel like a zip line.
I'll show you an example of their ley lines. Maybe. Yeah, you see these like blue like floating lines in the air? Like if you have a glider, it makes you like stick to those lines in the air. Okay, this is not what I was thinking. Mm. Why do they have to name a like a mini game ley lines? I don't even think I have it still installed. I don't. Otherwise, I would show you.
I might be able to find an example. I still have it. I just haven't played it in a hot minute.
But yeah, maybe what we should do is in the wiki just get like just a massive list of all the different mechanics that we could possibly do, and then we could just start designing levels around it.
Mhm. Everybody could just like brainstorm mechanics and like objects that you could be implemented.
Yeah, here I'm just gonna go ahead and make a new page in the wiki, just for us to start thinking of mechanics ideas. so we have like a glider, wall walking boots. What were some of the other ideas that you guys had?
I think Molly mentioned like the vents.
And here I will post this link in the Discord channel so you guys can edit it as well. To make bullet points, all you use is a dash or a star. I don't know. What are some ideas for like interactable objects? Like the only ones that like instantly come to mind are like the portal ones. Like objects that hold a button pressed down, which acts as like a trigger for something, like opening a door.
Maybe there's like little items you can pick up, or things on the floor that give you like a boost in speed.
Power-ups like speed boost, grappling hook. I don't know, super jump maybe. It makes you jump super high,
Mhm.
or double jump. Maybe wall running, like just being able to like not just vertically walk up a wall, but it allows you like slide across it, similar to surfing.
Maybe like an item that kind of changes the environment. I don't know. I was thinking those those cubes that you jump on. Maybe you have some kind of ice gun that'll make like a little path or something.
Oh, that's super cool.
Oh,
Like a
I've
platform
heard-
generator gun.
Yeah.
yeah. At first, I thought you were gonna. When you said change the environment, for some reason, I thought like you find like a wine bottle and you drink it, and then like your vision becomes wonky, and you have to.
I'd love to have fun Easter eggs in there like that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Maybe a gun that allows you to like just move a platform, but it has like a certain amount of energy, so you can only move like platforms a certain amount. So you have to like figure out the ideal amount to move a platform to be able to jump across.
Yeah, I was thinking about making some of the platforms like drones, but I didn't know how to explain how they'd be so static. But I think something like that could be related to the platform generator and manipulator. Like you'd have a drone that would act as a platform.
Yeah, you can kind of like I don't know, pilot the drone.
They could be drones. They could have like little jets or like hovering things underneath. We could use like a mixture of all of them.
Maybe your corgi is a transformer and he can transform into like maybe his on his feet he has little jets and he can act as a platform.
Ooh.
Isn't that like Mega Man? What's his name? The name of the dog?
That's
Uh,
kind of weird to step on your dog.
yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. It would be kind of cool to just be like Iron Man and be able to fly around in one district. Oh, I've never seen Mega Man. I've only seen his like I didn't know he had jets on his dog.
Yeah, he like transforms. I think I don't remember if the dog is in like Smash version of Mega Man, but
Man, I feel like this game idea went from like bunny hopping and surfing to let's do all the things.
yeah,
And I think I like it better that way. I don't know what might be the way to go is we take each district of the city, and as we're working on the game, all we do is add a new district and another mechanic, and so the game can be like infinitely added onto. But we just only have to focus on one thing at a time, as far as like chunking off the work goes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So yeah, if you guys have any more ideas, we'll have to explore like how the level layout would work with each one of them, and see if they're even like feasible to make it fun to play.
Mhm.
I get ice cream?
Hmm.
Thank you.
Is there ice cream for the rest of us?
If only I could mail it without it melting. I'm sorry.
I guess we can look at things that like modify the city, like even things like a crosswalk button, right? That are like direct traffic of like floating cars.
That'd be super cool.
Mhm.
And that'd be like we were looking at Cluster Truck, right? That could almost be like a district of its own, where like all you're doing is like hopping along the tops of flying cars. Okay, that is not what I was thinking. I did not know there was a restaurant called Cluster Truck. Hmm. There's so many things we could do.
In this game, do you have any influence on the trucks and
No, there's
and
like 4 power-ups. There's one that like gives you a double jump. There's one that like allows you to slow down time. There's one that lets you like dash forward faster in the air, and there's a couple others that I don't remember. Like you can see the slow time one here.
Hmm.
I think it would be cool to be able to like influence the platforms though, or the trucks in this case.
yeah.
Hmm. You can see it had like a little dash right there. And like in this game, you just kind of like build up speed as you're jumping. But in ours, you have to like the way the bunny hopping. I don't know. I'll have to teach you guys how to bunny hop so you guys can understand like the fundamental mechanics before we move on. Because it is not an easy mechanic to master. Hmm.
I brought you ice cream.
Molly, I know Damien's with you. Does he have any other ideas? Might as well get them all down before we start designing things.
Ideas about what specifically?
He's played more CS:GO than I have. So anything?
What kind of information are you looking for?
That's a really tough question to answer there, bud.
You gotta give me some kind
Yeah,
of guidance.
yeah, I know. Machi, you've been quiet the whole time. What are you thinking? Too much information?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? As a developer, like this kind of like is overwhelming to have to implement all these things.
I mean, I have this small idea. Maybe we could separate the story like mode from the, for example, challenges mode. And when you have like harder levels, we could just put them in the challenges and don't interrupt the story.
That's a really good idea. I think that might be
Mm.
how we like have to do it almost like because we don't want to keep adding narrative, right? Like we can only do so much of that, right? And it's if the narrative ends, then we can just have fun with the levels, right?
Yeah, I think that's the only way to do it. Like story mode and then like challenge mode.
I'll spend some time thinking the story out. Like I feel like you finding your lost dog each level is a little too easy, I guess.
I like it more that maybe he's leading to something like, I don't know, like maybe final level, or wants to show you something. I don't know.
Yeah, like you almost have to give the dog the a purpose as to why you're finding him.
Yeah.
If he's helping guide you through the levels, then I don't think it'd make too much sense that you're trying to find him.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Those are
if
like two contradicting
yeah,
pieces.
it could be what you said, that like you're on an adventure. You would just have to figure out like what you're searching for. Maybe your dog lost its puppies, and then you have to find the puppies. And then
That's like
each
the only
level
thing
you
I could
find
come up
one
with.
puppy.
You're collecting puppies. Like that's your currency in the game. Living, breathing animals. So a normal litter of puppies is like 12 puppies, so we can only have like what, 12 levels?
Or maybe like one puppy per district.
That sounds smarter, yeah. That way you have to do like, I don't know, 5 or 6 levels to find one puppy.
Because if not, it's gonna be like an overload of puppies.
Yeah. And then Molly and Austin can have fun like designing slightly different corgis. Different coloration and whatnot. Man, I feel bad that the this guy's playing on Alpha 0.4 and we're on Alpha to 0.5 and our game is nothing as good as this. I don't know. Would it be useful to you concept artists for me to like have the level editor ready so you guys can just like place things down and kind of just like use that as an idea of how things can be placed, or is it easier for you guys to do it in like Procreate and whatnot?
I mean, as in like place 3D models or
Yeah, like I could like
drawings.
in Unity, like I could just have like a bunch of 3D models that you could like. It's as simple as like in the game you'd be like doing the equivalent of creating a new scene, and then you'd have just like an empty world, and then you'd have like some sort of UI that would allow you to just like drag in models and just start like laying out how the level would work. I don't know if this would be more tedious or easier or.
They'd be probably more difficult to do because usually when you're like designing stuff, you go through a lot of different iterations.
Got it.
And if you're drawing it like digitally, you can like select one object and like move it around, change the color, change the like in like 2 seconds.
Probably easier to
And
do
also,
that than have
I
you learn
don't
a
know
new
how to
tool.
use
Yeah,
Unity.
it's fairly simple. Like you can literally just like click on a thing and hit Control C and Control V to copy and paste, and then move the new duplicated one out and whatnot. But yeah, it might be easier to mock it up. I don't know if it's easier to mock up 3D things in 2D or not.
If you want, you could do like a general mock-up of like how you would like it to exist, and then we could just fill in the designs.
And that's kind of how big game dev companies do it. They do what's called gray boxing, and basically what they'll do is they'll lay out like I don't know, for example, 4. It'd be laid out like this, and then you guys could take it and like each of these like walls would be like, I don't know, the roof of like up top would be like, this would be like the roof of a building right here and whatnot. Like I could just like, I don't know. I think I probably need to take some more time to lay out these levels a little bit better. And like as long as I have like the general spacing right, you could turn this into something stylized.
Yeah.
So, Mache, do you have any interest in level design?
Um, maybe.
So like the current things that we could work on are the level editor. I don't think we want to even worry about the tutorial yet because we have to lay out all the levels first to even start thinking about how we're going to do that. And then Steam integration. So if you aren't interested in level design, and then I could have the next milestone be either Steam integration or the level editor, whichever sounds more interesting.
Maybe Steam integration.
I
I
think
mean,
Steam
I
integration would be
like
a
the
good thing.
idea. I like the idea of the achievements, and that could be like a lot of work for us as well.
What was that last sentence you said? You're quiet.
Oh, I said that could be like some work for us to do while the concept artists do their.
Yeah, there's going to be a quite a few steps to the Steam integration, I think. So yeah, I think in the next milestone I'll have Mache start looking into the Steam integration. While he's doing that, I'll spend the majority of my time laying out levels and thinking about different designs that we could do for them. Because I'm gonna have to figure out how to basically when you hit the end of one level, start the beginning of next level. And I don't know, maybe we can just do that like per little checkpoint thing, right? All just one level and just little checkpoints in between them. But at the same time, I don't know if it's more useful to have it open world or if we have like tutorial levels so they teach you how to do each of the individual mechanics and then you get put into the open world.
I think that works.
The separate levels for tutorials.
Hmm.
Or I guess I could just do separate quote unquote districts for the tutorials. I don't know, I think I'll probably have to lay out the tutorial with it, right? So like as I'm laying out the levels, I have to figure out like so like the way the tutorial works right now is it's literally just like a list of like sentences that it types out, right? And then as you hit tab, it switches to the next sentence. Um, I don't know. I have to figure out how to do that best because I think we're gonna have to like I don't know highlight objectives or something along those lines.
I guess one thought that came to mind for like sort of how to handle the checkpoints, and it plays into like one of the earlier conversations you had around each skill or mechanic being like an invention. Could be like the dog maybe like steals the thing or the parts and then like scatters them around, and each checkpoint is like the part, like a part of the, I don't know, the
That's a
like
really
the
good
gun
idea.
or whatever it is. Yeah. So you're like running around chasing after the dog and finding like the scattered pieces to your invention or something.
Dude. Okay. Perfect narrative tie-in. Your dog, his like, okay, so dogs are known for their sense of smell, right? But since he's a cyborg corgi, his sense of smell leads him to those parts.
Ah,
I like that.
And then that's the part that gets introduced as a mechanic for the next level.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolute perfection. I like that a lot.
So I found some images that kind of mix the fantasy and sci-fi element a bit. Where do I send them?
So, what would be useful is under the repository, right? You can just create a new wiki page, and so you can see like Austin has his 3D artboard, right? So you could just create,
Mhm.
Marlo's 3D artboard and just use it as a dumping ground for all the links and pictures and whatnot that you find.
Okay, cool.
On the page, you can see in the markdown the way it works is if you want a picture, you put it in parentheses, like the link to it, or you can do like a HTML tag for it. I know it looks like some ugly code, but I can show you how to do it if it doesn't make sense.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna update the little bit of story, the snippet of story that I have on here, because I think Daniel has me pretty set in stone on that last idea. How do you guys feel about that? If you're still watching the screen.
Yeah, sounds good.
And I think that allows us to transition into the challenge levels without breaking any of the narrative and kind of sticking with the same story. So, do we want the dog to lead us, or do we want the player to have to do the exploring to find out where they need to go? Because I almost feel like we want the player to have that sense of accomplishment that they figured out where to go. You know. Whereas
Maybe if you're stuck, you could have the option to like
ask the dog.
call your dog for help.
Yeah. So hmm, like that. I think it'd be cool to like at any point in the game be able to just like walk up to your dog and hit some sort of key on your keyboard that allows you to pet the dog or play with the dog or something.
Mm.
I think in some games it was like a wisp or something uh, leading you when you press the button.
I've seen
Yeah.
some of those. Like maybe like the in those games it'd be like a wisp like hovering over like the next spot that you have to jump to, whereas in this case, like I don't know, the dog could. This is going to be really hard to figure out programmatic wise, teaching the adding in the animations for the dog to jump from one spot to another. I think we're going to find that we're going to need an animator here real quick. Are there any other roles that we don't think that our current team has that I should look for?
But we need a composer.
For music?
Yes.
So I've seen a lot of on Reddit. I've seen a lot of composers offering like free music and whatnot. Um, I don't know if we can even work with them until we have like some some concept art mocked up to like have them, fit the feel that we're going for.
Yeah, that'd probably be later.
However, I do think if you go, I will send a link to it. We have a guy in the Discord that made an awesome like synthwave song. Oh, let me find where he posted it. Okay, if you go to the Jumping Jacks channel, I posted a link. In Discord, you can copy a link to a message. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to the message where he sent an MP3. So if you hit play on that and listen to it for a sec, I think that has like the perfect feel of the game captured into music.
That's cool.
So intense.
Yeah.
I know. The song is named Urgency. I think it's perfect. I like how it like gets intense and then it like just kind of like hangs out and pop, 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 pop. I don't know. I should reach out to him to see if he's interested in making more music.
Yeah.
I think he's not necessarily a composer or anything. He just made that for fun. So I don't know. I know he said he enjoyed it, so I'll have to ask him and see if he's interested in doing more. So, as a side note, now that we kind of have our team together and everybody hopefully kind of feels comfortable talking to each other, the meetings in the future will be more like checking in on work and whatnot. But that's not to say that, for example, the 3D modelers or UI designers or whatnot, like I don't want you to wait for those meetings to get feedback on the stuff because I don't like want to waste any of your time. Um, so like throughout the week, if you're working on something, feel free to send screenshots into the Discord channel.
Yep. Sounds good.
Also, I haven't been very good about keeping like narrative-based documentation. So if you guys come up with more ideas, feel free to add it to the wiki. Don't feel bad about breaking anything because the cool part about GitHub, if you guys are still watching my screen, on the wiki you can see up at the top it has the revisions that were made. So you can go click on it and it'll show you, like if we click on any of the revisions, you can compare them. And it'll show you what changed, right? So like you guys can't mess anything up, so don't feel bad about editing things. Also, I guess I should post a link to the wiki in our channel and pin it. Do you guys know how pinned messages work?
In Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and pin the wiki. I believe in order for you guys to edit anything, you have to be part of the team on GitHub. So you'll have to make a GitHub account, and I can add you to our team, so it'll give you permission to do all that. So if you make a GitHub account, all you have to do is send me your username or email. So based off of what we've done today, I can edit the versions. So 0.6 will be it'll be focusing on the Steam integration and level design. So we can pull the Steam integration data up here. And I'll have to write out some high-level things for level design. Somebody popping bubbles?
That's my phone because I created the account and it sent me notifications. Okay. Do I just tell you my username?
Yep.
It is Mars bar 20.
Alrighty, check your email and it will give you, it'll tell you to accept the invite. Oh, to the concept art, I'm gonna add, like the technology pieces, right? Like the parts that you're gonna want to pick up and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So, pieces of a portal gun. And for bunny hopping, the way I'm gonna rationalize that it's a thing is that you have anti-friction boots.
Mhm.
And then they also work. I guess I'll have to figure out how to rationalize surfing. Maybe you get like a, I don't know, reverse gravity add-on to your boots. And I'm gonna go ahead and move all of the tickets over. This has been a pain in the ass, and I haven't wanted to do it for a long time. Instead of Machi for the boards, I'm no longer gonna name them by version, but I'm gonna name them by epic. Maybe not. So like in project management, there's like a few ways you can lay out the ticketing boards. You can have them all on one board, and you can add like labels to them saying like what process they're for, or you can lay them out by version. Machi,
My GitHub is my username
Mhm.
without the line, the underscore.
Alrighty, check your email.
I
Okay.
still haven't gotten the request for some reason.
Is this how you? Is this your username right here?
Huh? Yes.
Okay. May have to refresh your Gmail or whatnot, or check spam.
Oh no, there's an S at the end of bar.
Well, let me cancel that invitation so that person doesn't get it. There you go.
Okay, now I got it.
Perfect. It looks like Shervine is in too. Also, we do have another guy from Canada in One Leaf, by the way. He's from Ontario, I think.
Yeah, that's real weird too.
Oh, cool. Mache, I'm going to go ahead and create an investigation ticket for the Steam integration for you.
Yeah. Well, I think you just upload like a package, and it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, they have like a Steamworks SDK that you pull in.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's looking like the project board. So the repository Jumping Jacks is like a copy of my repository that I own. So it looks like we can't make them actual issues. So it does look like we're actually going to have to keep them on mine, which makes things a little bit more ugly. Unless I can figure out a way to allow that. Oh, I can just turn on issues. Never mind. There we go.
Yay.
So for those that aren't developers, the way that GitHub works is all you have to do now is when you so the nice part about you guys is you have a lot of things that you can pick from and you can pick whatever you want to work on. So you just drag it into in progress, you click on it, and then you hit assign yourself, or I could assign one of you guys for you. And now you can see her little icon here, right? And then when you're done, you just move it to done, right? So that way we know it tracks the work for us, right? So to start, I'm just gonna have a separate district for each one of surfing, portals, and bunny hopping. And then once we're done with those, we can look at a district that like combines them together. Um, are we thinking that we want to allow them to just literally walk like from one district to another, and so it'll all be in one big world?
I'm not sure how the mechanics of that would go.
I know. I think it would be cool for you to just be able to like I don't feel like playing the game. I just want to go fuck around and hop.
Yeah.
Which means we could make the world design a lot more fun than just laying out the levels themselves. We could have roofs of buildings that you can hop across just to find little Easter eggs and whatnot that we've hidden.
Hmm.
Like maybe so we're collecting the parts for each of the items, but maybe in each of the worlds there's like hidden like I don't know maybe you do need to find the little corgi puppies that are hidden all over the world. Or maybe the corgi's hiding bones and those are like collectibles, and when you collect all of them you get an achievement. That's actually a cool idea. I'm writing that down. I'll have to think about how I want to lay out the open world design, because that's going to be a somewhat complex change to the way the program works. I think this is almost perfect that we've adapted from my initial idea of just like my core idea. So, okay, I had two core ideas. The initial one was I took the mechanics out of CS:GO and I wanted to add in portals, and I wanted to just make maps that you can get good at bunny hopping and surfing because it's just a fun mechanic. Um, the reason I did that was because the game that I want to make in the very very long term is um, so there was a custom game mode in Halo 3 called Infected, and did I talk about this in the last video?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, so you guys can rewatch that, and I don't have to give you that whole backstory. But I think it's cool that we kind of strayed from my old idea and are making this like a game that like I could even see my fiance playing this, and she's not huge on games. Machi, I think it's super funny whenever I want to type in your name, I have to type in FU. I'm gonna go ahead and just assign us some tickets to get started on. Since we're making such a massive refactor to this, Machi, I'm gonna ignore the testing. I know that's something that you really want to do, but I think we kind of need to figure out how these things are gonna work before we can even try and test them.
Okay, yeah.
And that'll be how we integrate the debug console as well. We'll have to refactor that. So it's good that we got them done, but haven't implemented them yet. What other things will I have to break? Currently, right now, the whether or not you can use portals and whatnot is dependent on the level that you're on. But if it's all going to be in one world, I have to redo that. Um, what's taken the longest on programming so far is literally just the base player mechanics of adding in bunny hopping and surfing. Those were super complicated code. Hmm. What else do I have to fix? I guess I can get rid of the level selection menu, huh? Actually, I'm gonna put in a ticket to refactor the main menu UI, but I'm not gonna touch that until Daniel or Pre has made the mockups for that. So are we all kind of in agreement that we wanted to move that level selection menu into the like either in the game and maybe have like a pad on your wrist or something that you can like teleport to a different level at any point, or like we don't want to get rid of that because it's like if somebody gets stuck. Ah shit, no, then they wouldn't have the components completed from the last one, so they can't just skip. Maybe once beat the game, they can do that though.
Yeah, I think making the story mode beatable, and then all the other modes they can like, or after they beat story mode they can thing.
Maybe they have like a map that they can open and they can just click on any one of the checkpoints to teleport to it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I told my fiance to order dinner. 1 second, give me just a sec. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Oh my god, I'm still recording. I probably don't need to be recording.